everything legit. The Nimi Meta Podcast.
Everything legit. Hello, welcome back, the Nimi Meta Podcast. Hello, hope everyone is doing well. Thanks so much for tuning in, listening. I'm saying tuning in like I'm on the radio. For even listening, for streaming. What's the term? I don't know. I should know. Shouldn't I do this for a living? Welcome back, or if you are brand new to this, welcome. You know, I've reached out on Instagram to ask people what you want me to talk about, what kind of topics you want me to discuss, and it's amazing the kind of topics I've got. Like, shout out to all the girls out there who didn't even have a suggestion, but just wanted to give me some love, and I love that so much. Before I get into what I'm going to be talking about today, I would like to say a big thank you to Rove Hotels. I am still here rocking through season 2 with them, and Nikon Middle East for shooting this whole thing. So, by the way, if you are listening on a podcast streaming platform, then amazing. You're probably more of like a love to listen person, maybe whilst you're at the gym or on your way to work, but you can watch the video to this as well. It is live on YouTube on my channel Nimi Meta, so do subscribe, share, etc. Either way, I'm so grateful you are here, and today's topic is something that I really wanted to think about before I came to the mic to talk to you about it today, because it's a really touchy subject. It's something that I personally think at some point in your life every single person has gone through, and that is bullying. Now, the question I got through on my Instagram was, have you ever been bullied, and how did you cope with it? And here's the thing, this is exactly why I'm saying that at some point in their life, someone has had a form of it. Because I believe that there are several forms of bullying. The conventional, normal way to think about bullying is when you're at school or university or college, and there is someone who is just mean to you. You see it in the movies, right? They're like pushing you around, chucking your stuff around the place. They're just being overall horrible, either using their words to get to you. Sometimes it gets physical. Sometimes it's just mental manipulation. There are so many different versions of bullying that we all experience. And sometimes I genuinely think people don't even realize they're being bullied. And actually, I'm going to get my phone right now. Let's actually get the full definition of bullying, right? Because I want to get this right. A bully. Okay, what is a bully? This sounds stupid, but just stick with me. What is a bully? Someone who seeks to harm, intimidate, or coerce you into something. Basically, they see you as vulnerable. That's what this says. Someone perceived as vulnerable. I don't know where to start with this. I will start by saying to answer your question, I have never been outright bullied. Never. And I feel very lucky to say that. When I say outright bullied, I mean at school, I was never bullied. At university, at college, I never experienced such a thing. However, now at the age of 30, when you've lived a bit more and, you realize that you can't just take words for face value, like the word bullying, that it's a lot deeper than that. There's a lot more to it. That in other shapes and forms, I have been bullied. I want to speak to you, and this is when I read the question, there was one instance that popped into my mind straight away. And that is a more recent time. And this was probably 2 years ago, or maybe a bit longer. But I feel now looking back, I was bullied by my boss. I don't even know what to refer to her as. She was my boss, but she wasn't. And the fact is, it was a she, which made it even worse. You would think that you females would stick together and that we would unite and have each other's back. That was definitely not the case. I want to tell you about this incident. So it became a really toxic workplace, and it was mostly just because of this one individual. Everyone was really, really unhappy, and she had her favorites, and then she didn't have the others, basically, who she tried to make life really, really difficult for them. And so there was one incident. I'm a very outspoken person, especially when it comes to my career. Personally, I try to keep myself controlled at all times. But when it comes to my career, I will not take anything from anyone. And I personally think that's how it should be. It's actually a conversation that I had with Gary Vee, and you can check it out in season 1 of Everything Legit. And I spoke to him about dog eat dog. You know, in the business world, are you kind and empathetic in the business world? And he specifically said, as much as he promotes gratitude and being kind, he said, do not get it twisted. When it comes to business, I am out there to slaughter everyone. Like, there are no friends in business. But when it comes to personally, yeah, you need to be kind and lovely and, you know, with great energy and empathetic and all of these things. Because like when it comes to business, I'm out there to beat every single person. And when it comes to my career, I am exactly the same. Anyone will tell you that they see me in a relaxed situation, but when it comes to work, I'm a different person because I'm very, very tunnel vision. And so I was in this work situation where we had several meetings, and I voiced my concerns about a lot of things that were happening. I was always the one in a meeting to speak my truth and to speak up and say I wasn't happy with something or I didn't like something. And this, air quotes, boss did not like me speaking up. And she had this ability to emotionally manipulate people. And the thing about her, and I feel like I speak about this person, but I feel like all of you will be able to think of someone in your own life who is like this. They have this like dual personality, which is so kind and sweet and soft, and you think they're your friend, and they sit with you and they're like, so how is everything? What's going on with you? How's this? How's that? And you think, wow, this person is really invested in me emotionally and enjoys my company and genuinely wants to know. But then there was another side to her, which was the complete opposite. It was very manipulative. It was very, I'm going to say it, jealous. It was insecure. It was just a lot of alarming things that you wouldn't really expect to experience in the workplace. You know, in a personal friend group, it's probably more common, but in the workplace, people tend to keep it quite professional. This was not the case with this lady. And this particular incident, I spoke up in a meeting and she didn't like it. After the meeting, she sat me down and in one way or another managed to convince me to be someone else. So this is what happened. She sat me down and she said, I really don't like how you conducted yourself in that meeting. I think you were rude. I think you were this. I think you were that. And I was like, well, hang on a second. No, you thought I was rude, but actually I conducted myself very professionally in that meeting. All it was that you didn't like what I said. It wasn't how I said it. It was exactly what I said because I didn't agree with you. And this is something that I really, really want to point out to people, is that speaking your truth is a must. That is not a compromise. That cannot be compromised, is speaking your truth in any situation, whether that's in work, whether that's personally. If you are not happy with something and you do not agree with something, for you to sleep better at night, trust me, you need to voice yourself. And I actually think people respect you more after you've voiced yourself. I think you set boundaries after you've voiced yourself. I feel like people will realize not to take the beep after you voice yourself. And that's just how it is. And in this conversation, it was a long conversation, honestly. The word count was crazy, but she basically told me in the next meeting in front of everyone, could you please not speak? can you not go against me? Because if you go against me roundabout, she's going to make my life very difficult. And I understood that message loud and clear. She said it in a really nice way though. You know, she was like, look, I don't want to have to take this higher up. So let's just, agree that you agree with me on things and we move forward in unison. We need to be a team player. All of these things, basically saying things that I know I already am. Deep down inside, I know who I am and I know what I bring to the table. But this person managed to convince me otherwise. And now looking back, I'm mad at myself, but I'm glad it happened because I've learned from it now. So, Lord behold, the next team meeting, I was there and I disagreed with so many things she was saying in that meeting. And I still sat there in absolute silence. I sat there in silence, didn't speak to anyone, didn't even respond when it was just a unison yes or no. I literally didn't utter a word or make a noise. And that was the first time in my life I felt truly silenced by someone. You've heard me in previous episodes. You've heard me it took a lot for me to find my voice. It took a lot for me to figure out who I am and be comfortable and confident in my own skin to be able to voice myself. And I'd done so much work to get there. And in an instant, someone completely threw that out of the window for me. And the truth is, I allowed them to because I put the power in their hands. Now, there is so many elements involved here because you're talking about, I'm not my own boss. There was someone that was my boss. There is a hierarchy and you're fearful. You are fearful because you don't want to lose your job. You have responsibilities. You have bills to pay. You also, aside from the financial side of things, you have dreams and ambitions. And I was like, I've worked too hard to get to where I am. So I'm just going to sit up and shut up and not bother anyone and just get on with my work. I now, looking back, know that was such a big mistake. And that is the rawest form of bullying I have experienced as an adult. As an adult, the bullying, the emotional manipulation, the mental, I'm going to call it abuse, is so much, I feel really hard to understand as an adult. Because from my point of view, I can't understand why another human being would want to make you feel like that. Why would you want to make someone feel terrible about themselves? Think about that. When someone does something bad to you, and people have been doing bad things to me on a personal level, now I always think to myself, the first question I ask myself is, what happened to them that they felt like they had to do that to me? I never question myself anymore. And that's progress. Because previously I would have thought, what have I done? Oh my goodness, what did I say? What did I do? Am I not a good person? Am I not a good employee? Am I not just a good human all round that they're saying this to me or they're doing this to me? Is there something wrong with me? The truth is, it's them. And that is something that everyone, and I want everyone listening right now to understand about projection, is that whenever someone acts a certain way to you, whenever someone feels a certain way towards you, or speaks a certain way towards you, please understand it is never about you. It is never. Because there is something going on in their mind or their emotions or something going on in their life that they feel like they need to bring you down a few pegs because they're unhappy within themselves. Now flip it, right? So say that someone is speaking to you with so much love and adoration, like my friends do with me and I do with them. Whenever you achieve something, your friend is like, you're amazing. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. I just want you to do better. I want you to achieve. it's the same concept there, by the way. You look at that person, you think, that person is content within themselves. That person is whole. That person doesn't see you achieving and see their losses at the same time. No, that person is good. That is a pure form of a human. And those are the type of people I want to surround myself with. And that is the type of person that you should aim to surround yourself with. And if you are listening right now and doing like a check on your social group, the people that you hang out with, and thinking, well, so-and-so isn't like that. So-and-so says this, so-and-so says that. She's not like that. Well, I honestly would start to reconsider that relationship as a whole. Because quite frankly, I sound so savage on this episode. Quite frankly, we don't have time for that. I say we because I feel like we're all a collective here on Everything Legit. We don't have time for that. We don't have the energy for that. And, you know, that's on a personal level. Say it's a friend. I personally think a lot easier to deal with. At work, it's hard. Like I said earlier, you know, you're dealing with a lot of factors here, and it takes a lot of guts to stand up to someone who's in a position higher than you, or a position that you feel like will potentially have power over yours. That to me was a horrible element of bullying that I experienced. And unfortunately, I wasn't the only one she did that to. Several people, but she definitely, I know, and all my colleagues know, she had it out for me. She was saying things to other people about me, lying to me, saying other things. Honestly, I can't even be bothered to get into it right now, but that was the most prime situation. When I think about when I was younger, bullying, I saw it, and now I wish I could go back and deal with it differently. Although I sit here and I'm actually proud of how I dealt with it. There was this one situation where we had this new boy join our school, and we were like 11, 12 years old, yeah, really young kids. And there was no political correctness back then. It was just as it was. The boy's name was Ian. And Ian, unfortunately, had some disabilities. He was in a wheelchair. He was also partially blind. But he was still so full of life and had so much energy, and he was always laughing. Now, what our school tended to do was mix up our tables quite a lot. So I got to sit with Ian a few times, and I would talk to him, and then we would have like golden circle time where we would all be on the classroom floor on the carpet and be reading and all that stuff. And there was this one time during this, and I don't know why, I have a bad memory, guys, so I don't even know how or why I can remember this, but I think it's because of how much it hurt me that someone could do this. Even now, I'm getting a lump in my throat. Gosh, I'm so emotional. I'm pretty sure I'm due to come into my period any second now. But I was sitting there reading my book. Ian was there reading his book, and this boy next to him thought it would be funny to pinch Ian's legs. So started pinching Ian's thigh from the side, and none of the teachers could see it. And me sitting there in the corner of my eye, I saw it, and everyone was there in silence. And Ian, he just kind of like patted it away. He didn't say anything. He didn't scream out. He didn't, try to vocalize himself to the teachers. He patted it away. And I saw it the first time, and I let it go. I didn't say anything because I thought, okay, maybe they're just messing around, like with Ian. I don't know, maybe it's just a funny thing they've got all going on. And then the boy kept doing it. And I got so upset. And that was in junior school. That was a point in where I feel like I peaked in life. I was like the fastest girl in school. I was the girl that everyone wanted to be friends with. And so I felt like, you know what? Yeah, if everyone wants to be friends with me, I also have like a responsibility to be good to people. And that's what my parents have always taught me as well. It doesn't matter who anyone is. It doesn't matter where they come from, what they look like. You stand up for what's right. And I instantly put my hand up to be like, okay, so-and-so is hurting Ian, pinching Ian, upsetting Ian. And then Ian started crying, and then the teacher dealt with it, and so on and so forth. And that was a physical form of bullying that I witnessed. And it was horrible. It scarred me to this day. And the fact that worse happens to people out there, like even worse to another level happens out there. I'm sure that all of you in some form or of another have experienced this before, maybe even not even experienced it, maybe witnessed it. I would like to say, as we wrap this episode up, that if we don't use our voice, what do we have? What do we have? We have to stand up for what's right. We have to call people out on their rubbish. We have to stand up for ourselves because no one else is going to do it. They will walk all over you. If you don't set that boundary, they will continue to do it. And so I reassure you, at first, it might sound impossible and it might sound like the hardest thing to do. But trust me when I say you will grow from it. You will also start to realize, hey, I need to do this more often because I need people to understand that, hey, you know what? I have a place in this world as well. And you or no one else is better than me. We are all here together. So I hope that you have enjoyed this episide. I hope it didn't sound too ranty. I sound like very aggressive today, but my voice is also like my throat is hurting. So I sound a bit ugh. Either way, I really do hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please do leave me a comment. You can also DM me on Instagram at the Nimi Meta. I appreciate you so much. Listen, I'm always open to you suggesting topics that you would like me to talk about. Anything that I've previously spoken about that you want me to expand on, please do get in touch with that. Share this podcast with your family and friends. Share it with anyone that you feel like can relate and that would love this. I love you and I really appreciate your time. Until the next episode. Peace.